Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, Yvonne Kraeher, Leigh Stima, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Leigh, Yvonne, and myself, with the Realm of Beings, eagerly invite you to join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Leigh, and I'm here with Yvonne and Gretta, and of course, the Realm of Beings. And we're very happy to be on Transformation Talk Radio every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So when you hear that term Realm of Beings, you may ask yourself who they are, how do they operate in our lives, why are they even coming through with these messages now, and do we all receive guidance? And if we do, how can we learn to use it in order to flow through our lives with ease? These conversations help you examine your life and your creation of reality. They will help you to shift your impressions and understand what you're creating in your life and how it shows up. So we are live this morning. So if you have any questions, please call us at the 1-800 number that you will find on the Transformation Talk Radio website. If you have any questions, you can phone them in. Today, we will be discussing the quote, "If you do not want to continue to experience something, then change your thought and use different emotions to trigger and support a new beginning." So, ladies, welcome. Welcome, listeners. Thank you for joining us today. And who wants to start unpacking this one? Change your thought and use different emotions to trigger and support a new beginning.
You know, I found that there were three theories out there by three different psychologists who I don't remember. I don't remember their names. But one was that the thought comes first and then the emotion. That was one. The other one was that the emotion comes first and then the thought. And then the third one was that the emotion and the thought appear simultaneously. We're coming from the perspective and the knowingness that the thought comes first and then the emotion. Because without the emotion, the thoughts that you have just sit and just wait for you to give it some action. So we equate it to an automobile. The automobile is your vehicle. You can get in it, but if it has no gas, you can't go anywhere. You'll just sit there unless somebody else comes and pushes it, or you get a crane that comes and pulls it away like a tow truck. Other than that, it's not going anywhere. So that's kind of what happens with our thoughts. We need the emotion to push it through. And then I'm going to turn that over to my sisters, see what they say.
That feels about right to me. The thought comes first. I can imagine the thought, like they say, a thought form kind of like in a little bubble out there. And we actually can choose which thought that we want to give the gasoline to or give the emotion to move through our daily life and our, whether it's categorized as a good thought or a joyful thought or a happy thought or a sad thought. Those are all ways to describe them, which are actually go hand in hand with the way we talk about our emotions. So yeah, like like if you are in a state of calm and peacefulness, and in emotion stability, thoughts just come and go. Like they can just flow through your physical body, through your mental, through your brain, through your head, wherever they go, and nothing happens in the world. Like you don't, like a lot of times people get stuck in places where they're going in a loop. They're thinking about the same thing that happened when they were 3 years old or 5 years old, and they just recreate another scenario in their adult lives that basically it's the same pattern. And I think the reason for that is that they just continually give that original thought, that original pattern, like you said, gives gasoline in the car, in the vehicle. What a great metaphor for what we're talking about today. Because without that gasoline, without that emotion, it does that thought doesn't go anywhere. That it doesn't drive. You can't drive the vehicle without with the gasoline, without the emotion. So yeah, that's my opening take on the quote. If you don't want to continue the experiencing something, then it sounds real simple. Just change your thought. So and that will support a new beginning for you and people around you. So
And I think I find myself always kind of going back to emotions. And when you were talking, Yvonne, about the thoughts out there in some sort of like cartoonish bubbles that we can all probably picture from comic strips and things like that, I feel like, I don't know, when you were speaking, I got the sensation of, our emotions are maybe act kind of like a magnetic field. Not exactly, but where, depending on where you are internally in yourself, and I'm always sort of trying to, because I'm trying to do it within, is be more aware of my internal terrain, let's just say. And you find yourself, if you're feeling like you have an angry internal status, then your thoughts that come to you are they're the thoughts that you create are in that vein. However, just like you were saying, when you're in a more placid state or a peaceful state or a joyful state, then the thoughts that you're getting are, more supportive of that state. So do our emotions sort of magnetize those, that is that like our compass?
See, I think you hit on a good point, Leigh. It's like a magnetism. Like right now where I am, I'm beginning to look at emotions as individual species. I've been thinking about it a lot. How do we get these emotions? How do they come to us? How do they know to come to us? So I started looking at them as beings, just like you and me. And that when we have a certain thought, a certain framework that we're working in, then those thoughts are going to gravitate to us because they recognize, and notice I'm treating them like beings now that have consciousness and unconsciousness. They understand what they're supposed to do. So if somebody has a thought that anger can interpret as being anger and that it's needed, if it's needed to assist that person in the creation of their reality, then it will be present. So I think, like you said, a magnetism, I would agree with that. I think the emotion knows to come to us. And the body parts, like for instance, let's take anger since we're on it. Look at liver. The liver is the body part that holds anger. It holds that. But in actuality, every cell of your body holds it, because every cell in your body is a species. It has consciousness, it has unconsciousness. It's just that the cells in our bodies operate differently from our whole being. You know, like the whole being, we have the heart pumping, we have the nervous system going, we have the neurons going so that I can move my hands around and whatever. So they know what they want it to be, and that's what they've agreed to do. Now, what is anger but energy? Energy is living, is a living thing. So therefore, the emotions are living, just like we're living. That's kind of where I've been going with this, you know, now. So that when I get into a situation, it's going to know, uh-oh, Greta needs us. So let's come. We're coming, Greta. We're going to help you be angry. We're going to help you stress that person out. We're going to help you throw that thing across the room and stop.
Oh,
We're
no.
going to help you.
Right, because I mean, I guess it is, I mean, we all know it, you know, I mean, those different emotions have a feeling. I mean, it's a, you know, they elicit certain reactions within our body. You know, if you're feeling angry, you clench up and there's tension there. So, you know, the body or the cells, I guess, are, you know, processing that field in a way. And when you're peaceful or happy, you know, the energy that's coming to you or that you're creating, you know, see, that's the thing, you know, if we're creating our reality, the energy that we're creating, like magnets. So are we magnetizing things in this creation, or are we creating the internal feeling? How does that work?
Well, see, remember, we've always talked about create, support, create.
Oh, so they're supporting what you're creating.
Yes,
So
yes,
energy is flowing.
yes, you've given the thought to it. You've given the thought. So, but at the same token, you have a calling, you know, a calling. Show, in other words, show me happiness. Somebody told you a joke, you know, gave you a joke, and you said, oh, that is so funny. I really enjoyed that joke. And you're just cracking up all over the place. Well, see, joy came. You got joy. You had happiness. They said, let's go visit. Let's go visit. Let's help out with this. Because it's thinking too. It's thinking, it knows that it has to give us support. It has to give our thoughts support. So it wants to do that. So it's helping us. So if we take it like a living entity, each one of them, sadness, happiness, joy, peace, and know that they have consciousness and unconsciousness, that they think, they feel, they can feel themselves. But anger can feel itself as anger, but that's its state of being. So it knows it's okay. I'm anger, so I'm going to be in that state. That is my purpose.
It accepts itself. I mean, it's like it's fully present in its capacity. There's no, oh, am I angry? Am I anger today, or am I going to be sadness? And that brings up this wonderful, I think it's a Pixar film. Did either of you see I hope I can say this, the Inside Out movie?
Oh,
It,
that was a while back, right? Inside
but
Out.
it
Yeah.
illustrates this point so well. It's about
Yeah.
this little girl, and the film goes into her psyche, and in her psyche lives joy, and there's sadness, and there's anger. So it kind of talks about this, how we're framing it, where, but you know, that is interesting because all of these species, they just embrace what they are. I
Yeah.
I know. Did you see the statement? Jacob is our producer, and he sent us a message under that. He said that movie made me sob. So that was his expression. So it so sadness said, okay, let's go to Jacob. Let's make Jacob, we got to
Yeah,
help
jumped
him.
right off the screen. And yeah, I mean, I think it's like when people can wrap their heads around the idea of an emotion like personified, like, oh, okay, so anger, come on in today, shake hands with anger, accept it as it is, because anger is accepting itself as it is, and it's going to teach me a lesson because I have this thought and supporting me, and then move on. Like tomorrow I'll invite another guest into my home here, and allow joy or happiness and see what they bring to me. So yeah, I think that's such a wonderful way to look at emotions. I really am gonna contemplate that. And next time anger wants to visit, I'll be like, you're not gonna stay too long today.
but you open the door a little wider so that and leave it open so that way it knows where it can also.
Yeah, I'll leave the back door open. You can come in, but leave. There's a door, there's a window open over there. Just stay for a little bit and move on.
Right. And see, we have a tendency to want, as humans, we have a tendency to want to hang on.
Yes, that's it. Because we stay victimized. Every lower kind of, place where people don't really like to be, like they're not comfortable being there, they're constricted in their body. I feel like that's more of like a victim, is like you're victimizing yourself, like you're in that victim state. And that again is another magnet where the lower you are, the more the more that mindset, that thought frame you keep yourself, the more lower events happen and thoughts come to you to support that. So we're getting ready here. I don't know about you, but we're getting ready to go on break here, this first break. So I guess stay tuned here, and we'll
Give the number in case they want to call.
yes, the number is 1-800-930-2819. So please give us a call if you have any questions or comments on our lively discussion today. And we're gonna hop off to a short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Yvonne. I'm here this morning with Gretta and Leigh, and of course, the Realm of Beings. And we are on Transformation Talk Radio every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. The name of our podcast is Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. And we spend an hour, kind of picking apart and studying a quote, and it ends up leading to all kinds of lively discussions. So today's quote is, if you do not want to continue to experience something, then change your thought and use different emotions to trigger and support a new beginning. And while we were on break, Leigh has something percolating. So let's just get to that right away before that thought and that emotion ends up going somewhere.
Go right out of here. Right. Let me see if I can magnetize it a little better.
Bring it back, Leigh.
What came to me when we were talking in the last segment was that the idea of, Yvonne, you had mentioned that, as humans, we're so we're so much more familiar with the lower energetics, and we really like enjoy to like wallow in those so much. But the higher emotions have a tendency to be fast, right? And I mean, perhaps there's something to it also in its like in its energetic construction, right? So perhaps those lack of love emotions are a little heavier and a little slower by nature. So the loving emotions probably, maybe, if we're being like, talking physics, if atoms, if massive atoms can have like fractionally different weights and things like that, so perhaps too can these energies, so maybe they're just faster, so we experience them, that's why they are more fleeting. And is it our, part of this human existence, is it to slowly by slowly kind of evolve and doing what we're doing here with this podcast, where, this is sort of where we come in and we have a dense form. So it's that piece. And I think I maybe brought these phrases up before, this, we get a little dismembered, from our force consciousness. And it's, this human existence is about like piece by piece remembering, like remembering that lightness, so we can be a beacon here on this plane. So those make our human form a bit lighter, so we can attract, or we can create, like, so this form can create those energies and actually hold it longer than like, oh, ha, that was really funny and hysterical. And, you know, 10 minutes later, I'm mad about something again, so to work on raising our awareness and raising our consciousness and changing these cells. So like change the cells out from those like more anger cells to the lighter ones that have the capacity to hold that energy. What do you think, ladies?
Ooh, that was a lot. And I agree with everything. Totally. I just, what a download in the middle of a podcast.
Okay, now I'm going to be the advocate here.
Please.
Yeah, the adversary or the advocate?
Yeah, that's it. I used the wrong word.
The adversary, Greta, go for it.
And
I
like
a challenge.
we have sort of, they come, and I'm always open for, how it fits into this.
Oh yeah. You know what? It's interesting how we started this podcast off, because I think you're right. It's giving the impression that love, see, we can look at it as love, or unconditional love, is a higher frequency or intensity of than sadness. So, but the thing is, even though I have love over here, I have sadness over here, but they're really equal. It's up to me to intensify them. They're going to give me the support. If I'm really super, 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 super sad, then it's going to vibrate and give me the frequency and the intensity for me to be sadder.
Right, and that's your creation.
Huh? What did you say, Leigh?
That's your creation. I mean, because when you started talking, I said, oh, dag, but sadness can be pretty intense too.
Yes,
so.
Yes. Sadness can be as intense as unconditional love. It depends on where we are, what we want to do with it. You see, what do we want to do with it at the unconscious? Because the unconscious is really the essence that is stirring up and giving us the impetus to create certain realities. And then the emotions come to assist us in actualization of it. So I think it goes intensity. And and you were talking high and low, high and low, high and low.
I mean,
I'm beginning to wonder, I don't see either one of them as higher or lower. I think what it is that each one of them, regardless of what it is, serves a purpose. Each one of those emotions serve a purpose. So it can't vibrate. And see, I've said the same thing that you said. So don't get me wrong, but I've been really thinking about, because if I want to vibrate it at a more intense beingness, then I've got to think it. I'm going to think I'm intensifying this energy. I'm giving it more and more. And see, that's how we get diseases. I'm going to say diseases instead of disease. Right. You know, those of us who are dealing with the understanding that we create our own reality, we refer to it as a dis-ease.
Well, that goes with my dismember. You know, right. We're like disjointed, dismembered, in dis-ease, not
right.
easy.
Right. So it's how we intensify it. And the more we intensify it, the more we can actualize something. And we've talked to the audience about mental equivalencies. And we can kick in mental equivalencies, regardless if we think it's a wonderful mental equivalency or we think it's something that we wish we had never created. But so I think I'd like to, in other words, my whole discussion is I want to throw in the word intensity into that. Intensity, not so much high and low.
Intense.
Intensity.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, let's circle back to the idea of, a person that is in intense state of unconditional love versus intense state of sadness or fear. I don't know, in my feelings or thoughts somewhere or ideas, I just don't see that person who's in that state of unconditional love magnetizing some physical ailment to themselves. So like, what?
Well, that's what we're
like, because you can be in. Go ahead, Leigh.
No, that's what we're sort of talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's the rare human who can achieve that consistent state of unconditional love, right?
And the intensity of it.
Right. To hold, I mean, because that's kind of circles back to what I was saying before. Perhaps part of our journey here is to be these vessels, to transmute our unconscious, to usher in those more intense. I mean, see, it's hard to speak about these things without kind of in human, in English and, in our understanding, without kind of making separation terms. But if perhaps it's part of our journey here as humans to more frequently experience the intensity of loving emotions. And I think it is a very rare occasion that humans attain that quality about them, right? That they can sustain that. I mean, you hear about gurus, perhaps, or, I don't know, some quote unquote religious people who can maybe, or we hear fables perhaps about Jesus and the Buddha and things like that. Maybe they did once live, but, and they're here to teach us, right? That is possible. So I don't think that, someone in that state could get dis-ease because they are remembered in this human form as the force that they know that they are.
I think that I would agree with that. And I think that really there's no one here, I don't care who they are. They could be a monk that all they do is sit down and pray all day long. Or they could be the Pope, whichever Pope it is. I think we have more than one. And, they could, be a saint, what people would say are saints, but everybody's got challenges. You can't avoid it. This situation that we're in is all about learning. It's all about lessons. And we choose the lessons by our creation of reality. And some of us choose lessons that others would look at and say, I don't think, thank God I haven't done that. You know, so, and others go, wow, look what they did. Man, I wish I could do that, you know, too, you know. So it's all about lessons. There is nobody here. If somebody could find them, I would be surprised, but there is nobody. Notice what I'm saying. Nobody here who doesn't have lessons. This is school, y'all. Okay, this is school. We're in school. We can either rise to the occasion or drop out.
Right. And whatever is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
that's whatever. It's
That's
all
right.
fine. You know, I mean, if we can get to the point where we can just like be 50% less judgmental within and obviously externally, gosh, we would make a huge change. 20% maybe even.
And
Yeah.
you can slip back into it. I did it this morning. I was facilitating for somebody and I did say something. And then I had to say, well, I definitely judge that. I mean, you know, it's just right there in a split second in a conversation. And I had to, you know, do a backtrack because we're so used to it.
But you immediately like
Caught
did a
it.
self, you know, correction, took responsibility for that like physical statement. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck in holding on to like, I was right, you know, on this topic, and they just kind of stay stuck in their heads, you know?
Right. They want to stay there.
Yeah, they choose to. They choose to.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes a lot of the choice is to loop. You know, I told you guys about my loop. My loop lasted 62 years.
Oh gosh.
It did. 62 years in a loop. And I was looping and I was just as happy in that loop and didn't even realize I was looping. You know, and then I was able to discover that 62 years in the same loop. You know, some people say they've had loops for 2 years. I'd say, that's wonderful. Mine was 62 years. Okay, so subtract 62 from 75, of which I will be. I'm going to celebrate my birthday on this podcast. I will tell you all right now.
Oh, yay!
I'm going to celebrate my birthday. So it's like, hey, learn the doggone thing, change it. How do you change it? This is what we were talking about. QDR.
There you go.
Displace, replace. Get that sucker out of there. Don't anything you don't want that you feel is not working for your benefit, because you're the one who has to judge that. Nobody else can judge if something's a benefit for you. Nobody. You have to judge that for yourself because you create your own reality. But doggone it, if you've got something that you say, I don't want this, then just say, I release all emotions and thoughts that support me in being angry. That's to get rid of an emotion. I release all emotions and thoughts and conversations that support me in not appreciating or liking Miss Jones, my neighbor down the street. So we can release anything. QDR. I release the emotions. Why? Because they drive the reality. I release the thought. Why? Because I got to put the thought there up on the astral plane where it's waiting for me to actualize it. And then the emotion said, okay, Greta, we're coming to help you. Okay. And there it goes. There I bees, sitting right in something. Okay, but I can get rid of it. You can get rid of anything. You have the power to do that. You can get rid of Parkinson's disease. You can get rid of congestive heart failure. You can get rid of pain in your right hip. You can get rid of your arthritis. Yeah.
So then the second part is replace, right?
Yeah. And the replace is the one that is so poignant and so important. I love myself unconditionally. That's the replay. You don't have to put anything else with it. I love myself unconditionally.
Release and love. Release it and replace with love.
Of
And
self. Love of self.
Unconditional. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Love of self.
we go to the break. When you were talking about you can release conversations and events that have to
Yes.
do with Miss Jones down the block, or
Yes.
I
Yes.
release the, any thoughts, emotions, conversations, events that have to do with like not loving myself.
You can release anything, Leigh.
Okay.
Absolutely. You can release absolutely anything. You don't have to keep it. That's the power we have as the force. We can release.
That is a wonderful thought to leave us all with and our listeners with. We have the power to do anything because we are the force. So we are going to take another short break here. And when we come back, the realm of beings is going to be with us, and we'll see what they have to say about this quotation. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for staying with us on the third segment of the podcast, Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. We've reached that point in the podcast where we directly can ask the Realm of Beings for their input about what we've been chatting about the last 40 minutes. So let's see what they have to tell us this week. Realm, are you with us? I know you're always with us, but
Yeah, we're here.
okay. So this week we have been talking about if you do not want to continue to experience something, then change your thought and use different emotions to trigger and support a new beginning. What do you have to add this week?
What we want to add is that many people think they're stuck. Stuck, can't change. I'm doing this, I can't get out of this experience. I'm married to a person I wish that I hadn't married. I'm taking a substance and can't stop. Regardless of what the substance is, but it's not doing the best for their bodies, but they can't stop it. It's to note, first of all, that you created it. And once you understand that you created it, then what do you do next? Step 2 is why? Why did you create that experience? Why did I create? This is from your television. Why did I create to get slapped?
Oh. Oh,
Oh,
bring in current events realm. You are in touch.
Whoa.
why did I create to get slapped in the first place? Creation of reality.
Yes.
Okay. And many of us have been slapped, I'm sure. If we would go throughout the whole world saying, have you ever been slapped? Yes. Have you ever been slapped? Yes. Have you been slapped? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Why? It's important for you not to question the other person, but to question yourself. Because you created the reality. The person was only supporting you where you are. And if you get slapped, you don't love yourself. You're not appreciative of yourself at that particular time, for whatever reason. Sometimes you don't know what the reason is. So when you don't know what the reason is, then the next step is to ask. Show me why I did this. Show me why I chose this. Show me. Sometimes you're shown by a billboard. Sometimes you're shown the answer by a person that you don't even know coming up and telling you the answer. That means that you have got to be aware. You have got to be open to receive. If you're not open to receive, then you won't get the answer. Or the answer will just pass you right on by.
Right.
There you go. So then you got to run after it and catch it and bring it back. You see.
If you get it, if you realize
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Some people don't get it. It just keeps going, going, going. It's like your commercial. You have that little pink rabbit, you know, that little pink rabbit.
Oh, the Energizer. Yes.
Dana does it,
Yeah,
honey.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes we look at TV just to see. Yeah, we do. I'll be honest with you.
So
Greta-
first realm, then we take responsibility and we say we chose that. Then we say to ourselves, why did we choose that?
Yes,
And
because
then,
it's important to explore it. So you'll
then
have a
you
better
ask-
understanding of it. Go ahead, I'm
Right.
sorry.
and then the third step is if you decide you want a different reality, you just change it.
You have to change your thought.
Mhm.
And then you change the emotions that support the new thought. I mean, you change the emotions that supported the old thought and put different emotions there to support the new thought.
Mm.
So it's like you do an exchange.
Yeah,
It's like you have a $5 bill and you come up to me and say, do you have singles? And I'll give you the $1 bills, or I can give you change.
Well,
Coins.
this is the QDR, right, realm? I mean, the
Yeah.
exchange.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The QDR is the exchange. Or affirmations. But we gave the QDR because sometimes you're in a situation right then and there, and a thought comes that you don't want, and you need to deal with it right then and there. So you do a quick displace. You replace it with I love myself unconditionally. You want to pump that inside of you. Like when people get up in the morning, most people brush their teeth in some way or another. all around the globe, people brush their teeth in some way or another. So just like they brush their teeth, that's how you want to every day reaffirm, reaffirm, reaffirm. I love myself. Some people think that it's not important.
Mm.
It's not important for me to love myself. What does love myself do for me? But we're going to tell you what it's going to do for you. It's going to help you attract things to yourself that support you loving yourself. That's why it's important. It's the most important thing you can do. That's the top priority with you in this experience, is to love yourself unconditionally. You see, you have, I love myself, but now we're taking it deeper. I love myself unconditionally. And then we can take it deeper than that. I love myself in the oneness in which I exist. You see, but a lot of people right now are just trying to love themselves unconditionally. That's the biggie. Some people don't really, you had a podcast on that, loving, what a 4 steps to unconditional love. Most people just think it's, I love this person because I'm accepting whatever they create. I'm accepting whatever they create. Nah, it's more than that. Review. 1, the person is the force like me. 2, I am the force as well. 3, the person creates their own reality. 4, it's okay, whatever reality they created. Whatever reality they created. And step 5 would be, I honor you as myself. I honor you. I am one with you. I honor you to create what is best for you. This is a place of lessons and learning. Don't feel bad because you had to go to 1st grade and then had to repeat kindergarten. Doesn't matter. Because you might have to go to 1st grade in one thing and then go to kindergarten in another and go to 5th grade in another thing. You see, because you're learning all over the place. You're learning all kinds of things. But the big thing is to learn to love yourself unconditionally, because every cell in your body will feel the love. Every cell in your body will say, ooh, he loves himself. So we love him too. So guess what? Are they going to bring you something that's going to make you unhappy? No, they can't. Because it's got to support you in loving you. We support each other. So let's support in unconditional love, not hate. I hate you. Look what you're doing. You're hurting people. You get caught up in the emotions of it. We said that last week. When there's a war, I will repeat, when there's a war, don't take sides. Send love, unconditional love, to both sides evenly. Because each side is you. You are one with each side. There is no separation between you and both those sides. No separation whatsoever. So send peace and unconditional love to both. Because when you say, oh, look what this side is doing. Oh, look how horrible this person is doing, and da 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 da. And the media go, look over here, da 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 da, and then look over here, da 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 da. Rest with all that.
So is that, I mean, I feel like what you're just describing is we're talking about, external things, but conversely, we have to do that exact same process internally with our internal war, right? With
Yes.
with
Yes.
our internal struggles and conflict. Send it all love. Do not pick sides.
Mm.
Yes, absolutely. You got it, Leigh. You got it. That's good. You got it.
Listeners, what we're seeing externally is a manifestation of our internal collective, I suppose. And it would do us well to not pick sides internally, and then perhaps we would no longer see this external manifestation of it if we can all come together and know we're one source. Realm, do you have like one final word as we wrap this up?
You ask us that question every week.
And I wait for your answer.
It's all right to ask us the same question every week.
Okay.
Because it gives us an opportunity to say the same thing each week.
Yes. That's why I do it.
Yep. And we're so thankful to you. So we're going to say, here it is. Love yourselves unconditionally.
We thank you. Thank you, Realm of Beings. Thank you, Gretta and Yvonne and everyone. Oh, Jacob too, our producer. We can't forget about him. Where would we be without him?
Oh, thanks.
So, and to all of our listeners who joined us on the podcast today, thank you. Until we create each other again. This has been Shifting Impressions.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with Leigh, Yvonne, the Realm, and me, Gretta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multidimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.